It might surprise you that one of my strongest reasons for believing in God is that we can do science. Human rationality does not have a purely natural explanation. Now, I would need a lecture to justify that. But if you can give a cause and effect explanation for human rationality that takes you back to atoms and molecules, as leading atheists in the world are now beginning to recognize, you destroy rationality. I don't know whether you've read, if not, perhaps you ought to, the book by Thomas Nagel, Mind and Cosmos, why the neo-Darwinian view of the universe is almost certainly false. How about that for a provocative subtitle? He's one of the leading philosophers in the United States. And he's making the point, and I only have time to make this briefly because it's a huge topic in its own. But it's like C.S. Lewis pointed out a long time ago, we can do brilliant science by thinking. But what we fail to do is think about thinking. And if you reduce thinking reductionistically, simply to atoms and molecules, you take all meaning and empty all significance of rationality out of it. You've explained it away and destroyed it. And that kind of extreme reductionism is now being seriously questioned, not just by Christians like myself, but by atheist thinkers. It is a very serious objection, and it's one that Darwin himself ironically thought of. But I don't want to sidetrack on that. I think that human rationality is one of the supreme evidences. And of course, the design in the universe at the level of its laws, at the level of its beauty, the fact that it is mathematically intelligible and so on. But that tells you so much. But the principal evidence in my life of God is something that's geared into history and experience. And it surrounds the person of Jesus Christ. And I believe, as a fact of history, that he rose from the dead. I believe that you can give evidence for that. Now, we haven't time to do that, but plenty of people have supplied that evidence, and I've even written a book on it myself recently, looking at it through the eyes of the skeptic David Hume in his Criterion for Evidence and Witnesses. I think there's powerful evidence that Jesus rose from the dead, and so on. So it's testable, it's accessible. But the final point I would make is it works. It works. I have seen in my own life, the life of my wife and my family, over many, many years, again and again, the claims made in the New Testament are testable. They work. The power of forgiveness, the transformation of life, the power to live, the answers to prayer. I could give you examples of all of those. But we haven't time to do that. And of course, one can come in and say, well, that can be explained by this and this and this. But there comes a point where you test a thing so often, this is good empirical science, by the way, that you see there is a correlation. This is not only coherent and consistent, but it corresponds with reality. It satisfies all the normal criteria for truth.